welcome to Burning Questions, a big episode, September 6, and we're going to look at the big 12-race card at Melton on Saturday night. Of course, it's Vicbred Super Series semi-finals night. We've got a couple of special guests here to help us preview the meeting, and we'll also cast our eye to Sydney into New South Wales for the big features there on Saturday night as well. Brett Carroll joins us. I just spent the last hour and a half, Brett, with your brother Darren. We're doing something very similar here, so I'm interested to see if your thoughts match his. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. My main focus is on the footy tonight, but anyway, we can talk a bit of trots. It's all right.
I've noticed that scarf there. I think the Bulldogs are a great bet tonight for what it's worth. James Herbertson, fresh off 4 winners at Ballarat last night. Herbie, my first question to you, though, is have you got out on Marty the Martian yet?
No, not yet, Tim. Unfortunately, the leader didn't run up the track and give us the room we needed, but it's all right. He's racing well, the horse. Very happy with him.
4 ain't bad, though, is it?
4's not bad.
4's not bad. You still haven't got that 5-timer yet, have you, at the one meeting? It's just eluded you.
Not in the one meeting. I got it the other week in the one day between 2 meetings, but yeah, not quite yet.
Saturday night, maybe?
Oh, well, if we were able to do it on a Saturday night, that'd be pretty cool, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
You got to go to Mildura. I reckon you get 5 in Mildura, Herbie.
Oh, I never have much luck when I go up there. It's just, just don't fit in up there.
Yeah, finding 5 winners on the card's hard, Herbie. So I don't know if that's any compensation for you. Let's move on. First question and the first sponsor, a great sponsor of the show. Pride's Easy Feed stand as a proud supporter of the harness racing industry with their set recipes and quality ingredients to give the trainer confidence in what they're feeding. So make the switch to Pride's and start getting the result you've been chasing. Best Deal looks a talented type, so will he continue to live up to the hype? We're talking about race 3, horse number 4, Best Deal. Mark Pitt takes a drive for Emma Stewart. I'll hold you here, Herbie. You're driving horse number 2, Some American. Brett, what are your thoughts here? I am happy to declare my hand now. I thought Best Deal was the best bet on the card. I'm obviously anticipating that Mark Pitt gets across Some American and works to the front and controls the race. And I think from there at $1.75 is a really good bet. Are you with me here in race number 3?
I think $1.75 is probably rock bottom price, even though I do agree with what you're suggesting as far as the race turns out. I think if Some American was trained by Ashley Herbertson, I'd probably make it my best bet of the night because I think it'll hold the lead and win. But it's not trained by Ashley Herbertson, so it'll probably hand up to the Best Deal and they'll make the best run for their grand final next week, which is more important, of course. But from a betting proposition, I'd be happy to stay out, to be perfectly honest. But I think your summary makes sense to me. I don't think either of those two will be getting beat the way that race turns out.
Yeah. I guess, Herbie, obviously we've spoken. You've driven. You're driving Some American, Barrier 2. I know you haven't spoken to Emma or Clayton yet about tactics, so you will be in their hands, no doubt. But what's your sort of early thoughts here on a Friday afternoon as we look at race 3?
Yeah, look, his 3-year-old form is first class, really. He's run some really good races his last few starts. He's got a bit of gate speed to be handy enough. Best Deal was okay off the gate, I thought, last week. I handed up to him with Dancer Fair, who's a very quick 3-year-old off the gate. And, Pity had to sort of wake him up to get across me. So, his gate speed's decent, but, I guess if I wanted to hold him, I could hold him. But, we'll just see what they want to do.
Yeah. I mean, sitting here now, do you think it's likely that your instructions will be to take a sit with Some American and try and outdash him?
Probably. He's still got a couple of nice horses off the back row, Sergeant Lou and Storm Rider as well, who was good enough last week when he led up. So, there's still a lot of depth in the field.
Yeah, good stuff. Logical Staffing Solutions provide labour hire and recruitment services to the transport, warehousing, automotive and manufacturing industries. The logical solution for your staffing needs. The Lost Storm had his New South Wales trip scrapped, but can he win at Melton in a race where he might be best mapped? We're talking about race 2 on the card, and it's horse 2, the Lost Storm, Emma Stewart, Mark Pitt combine. I tell you what, this is purely random the way these fields fall, but this is the stacked heat of the 4-year-old Entires and Geldings. We've got the Lost Storm, we've got Kiang Tokyo, Perfect Class, Roadmaster, our Vincent Can Go. He's a punk rocker, Exotic Bushranger, and some other handy horses in there. Back to you, Brett. He hasn't been one of mine really at all, the Lost Storm. I've always thought he's a bit overrated, but I'm actually tipping him here. I think this race sets up nice for him, and he's around the $3 mark. There's a stack of cases you can make for other horses. How do you see it?
Cracking race, isn't it? I couldn't back him on his recent form, to be perfectly honest. I think what will happen in this race tactically is the Lost Storm, when he did lead a couple of starts ago, he had a lot of trouble finishing the race off. He was a long way off. I don't think they'll be doing that again. I know he has got a record from leading, but I think look after the horse, get him for next week. I think his best chances is to lead and hand up to Kiang Tokyo. Will be the first one there, and he'll get you to the lane. He'll get you to the final next week, and you look after the horse. So I think that's the way the race will turn out. And if that's the case, then they're probably the two to fight the race out, even though you've got to respect he's a punk rocker. Very impressive, wasn't it? Perfect Class obviously has a great record, but can it sit outside him and win? Probably not. Yeah.
Your map there, Brett, Kiang Tokyo finding the front, Lost Storm taking a trail. I think that's possible. Perfect Class up on the outside, putting the pressure on. Could that really suit the Lost Storm? That's
then you've got to get past Tokyo, and no one seems to be able to do that. He's just one of those horses.
Is Tokyo a fast horse, though, or is he more a tough horse?
It's a winner, mate. That's what he is.
True. That is true. The Lost Storm's been a winner too. But, I thought it was a great race. Just going to have a small bet on the Lost Storm just from a map perspective. Thought he's just going to get a nice run in transit. And I thought that last half, Brett, you love your sectionals. I think he was 53.74, driven cold. He's got that really good quarter last half. It was very windy.
It was very windy. They only ran a really slow middle half. So he's going to have to do it at both ends a little bit more this week. Not saying he can't, but yeah.
Yeah, good insight there. Herbie, you're driving. He's a punk rocker. You weren't on him when he was first up in Australia last week. And I know a little bit about this horse. He was an expensive purchase from New Zealand. He was, 1% was offered to me if I wanted to go in it, but I couldn't even afford that. He was a decent purchase. I think they've had him for about a year now. I reckon it was before the Vicbreds last year that he came out and had an issue. So great to see him back at the races, and they would be tickled pink with what they saw, I think, first up, Herbie.
Yeah, I'd say so. I haven't seen his sectionals, but, he's electric late. Again, he's probably going to be, at best sort of fall back the outside on Saturday night, and, he'll be able to make up a bit of ground late, but as you say, if Tokyo's in front and running a strong last half, we're probably not going to be able to catch him. I'd say that, as Brett said with the Lost Storm, I think they'll be taking a sit and taking a seat with him. Perfect Class will probably have to punch the breeze again, and he's one day he'll find the lead, and we might not be able to catch him. But his last few runs, he's having to park out. You've even got Roadmaster, who's probably going to need a little bit of luck from the draw, but his form is first class as well. So, exotic Bushranger as well from 13. Draw is not in his favour, but I'd say he'd be running home strong as well. So, Tokyo is probably the one to beat for me there.
Yeah, great race.
Backing up on what James is saying there, they're really fascinating races going forward to next week. So they might be hard to find a bet per se, but they're going to be fascinating to look at for next week because they're higher stake money next week, much higher. So a lot of these horses are still getting wound up as well. So just watching the progress from week to week is really fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Look, he's not one of mine, as I said, the Lost Storm, but just reckon, leading or taking a trail, if there's a bit of pressure on him, I reckon he's got that quick sprint in him. And I'll take a little chance, small bet for the Lost Storm. Let's move on to the third question. Fox Dan is yet to taste defeat, but can he handle this semi-final heat? Race 9, number 5, Fox Dan, Emma Stewart, Jackie Barker combine here. Look, it's a good race. I haven't got the market in front of me, but Foxdown was very short, around $1.30, I reckon, ahead of the stablemate Go Mickey, barrier 11. Mark Pitt takes the drive there. I'll hold you to last here, Herbie, because I'm really interested in your thoughts on your drive, New Shuffle. I think he's a very talented type for Phil Churcott. But Brett, Darren was on the radio before. He was pretty keen on the chances of Go Mickey at the price. Are you with the brother of yours?
I think so. I think, look, it's very hard to measure up the 2-year-old form. Like Fox Dan was a precocious 2-year-old and won the Bathurst heat and final. And not knocking that form at all, but it's a lot different to what we're talking 6 months later. You know, a lot can change. And Go Mickey only at the same time won a lowly race at Bendigo at $1.06 and toyed with its rivals. But he may have been up to Bathurst. We just don't know because he wasn't set for that race. So it's really, I'm just happy to sit back and watch at this stage. Sure, Fox Dan's unbeaten, but I think there's a lot of horses on the way up, and Herbie's drive's one of them. If it drew the pole, I'd probably back it, you know?
Me too. Herbie, New Shuffle for Phil Churcott opened up $81. I know it's barrier 7, but that was a big price. I think it was $8 a place, into 23 and $2.80 now. Look, I'm assuming you were offered a drive from the Emma Stewart stable here, and if so, did you tell them that you'd prefer to drive this one?
Yeah, I got just offered one if I wanted it, but I said no, I'll stick with him. He was pretty impressive last week off a cold sit. I think his own time was 26 flat, so
yeah, it was.
You know, come from last 3 wide on the turn at Bendigo when they're running like that. In only your second start was pretty impressive. So, you know, he's got a lot of speed and he's got good manners to go along with it. And, you know, Phil does a great job with his horses. So, you know, he's one to watch going forward. It's just a shame that he's drawn where he's drawn on Saturday. But no, I couldn't be more happy with him last week.
Yeah. Is it kind of, you know, sticking with him here? Is it looking at the long-term picture with him, trying to, you know, obviously want to be on him in the final if you drew a better gate? I mean, or do you think he's a winning chance on Saturday night in the semi?
Oh, look, you'd have to have a lot of luck Saturday night just to get into a good spot. You know, at the end of the day, if he's able to make it through the final and he draws a good barrier in the final and it's close enough to him, he'd give him a real shake, I think, for that real nice speed he's got. So, you know, it's long term with him, and you know, if he can stay sound, I'd say he's got a pretty big future.
Yeah, for sure. We'll move on to the fourth question in a second. Herbie, I think I'm not sure if you got the full form guide in front of you. I'll just read out your drives, and can you give us your best couple for Saturday night, at least at this early stage? Race 1, you're on Tilly Jane. Race 2, he's a punk rocker. Race 3, some American. Race 4, always hot. Race 5, let her roll. Race 6, compete. Race 7, War Dan Buddy. Race 8, kiss. Race 9, New Shuffle. Race 10, Tenaciously. Race 11, Credulous. And race 12, VMG McRae. What a book.
There's a bit of power there. It's not a bad book at all. Yeah, look, it's a hard one, isn't it? It's probably a night where you can say I might not get a winner even with all that sort of power.
Yeah, crazy.
It's really hard to say, isn't it? I really liked Wardan Buddy's run at Kilmore to come from where he did in the time that they were running up front. And he went past some pretty nice horses and he did it quite well. So, yeah, if he can get a good trip there somewhere, I'd say he's probably one of my best ones.
Okay. One question for you, Brett, before we move on. 12 drives for the Herb. What is the under-over line for winners, do you reckon?
Oh, they're very hard races. I think two's his par, to be honest, because they're hard races. I've got him down for 2, but he could drive 4. Yeah. Any truth you might have been on the Herbie market there a couple of Friday nights ago for him to drive 4? No, that was shout out to brother Bill Carroll. He was on the four winners when
$21, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Got the last winner. Can't remember what it was now. Oh, yeah,
it was the moral, Herbie. What was that moral?
How sweet.
That's one. How sweet it was indeed for Bill Carroll.
Yeah, well named.
Good stuff. Good luck, Herbie. It's a great, Have you ever driven in 12 races on a card?
Oh, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Definitely not on this sort of night anyway, I can tell you that much.
It's exciting. Good luck. The Eureka and Len Smith are wide open races. So who can help punters put a smile on their faces? I should have had that up in front of me, but we're talking about Menangle on Saturday night. I'll get my fields up. We'll go to that card. It's a great card. It kicks off at 4:59 p.m. an early finish. They like to get the racing out of the way and let the people party. It was a wonderful night last year. One of the best sort of experience I've had on a harness racing track, not far behind the mighty Birdship, Herbie. It was a great night. I don't reckon Birds of Tokyo would have had too many people say that people have had a better night at Birdship than listening to them, but that's the way it is. Let's look at the Tab Eureka. Herbie, we'll go to you. A few Victorians involved in the favourite from Western Australia, Never Ending. I lent the way of Major Delight just with the 4-year-old mare winning it last year. And, this horse has got really good Menangle form, but it's a wide open affair. Can you throw a dart and land the winner for us?
It's a hard one, isn't it? It's so open. And last week's race with Sure Thing Captain, it was a bit of a funny sort of form race in terms of looking at it at face value. He led and sort of played with them, and then you got the two horses come from second last and last one, second and third. So there's a lot of question marks on the horses in between the leader and the second last and last horse. So I've got a lot of time for Sure Thing Captain. I think he's got the gate speed to be pretty close to crossing them early, and whether he can go all the way or not, I'm not too sure. But there's just so much depth, nearly anything can win it.
So Sure Thing Captain, if you had to have a pick?
I think so. He's just had a nice run last week. I'd say it'd be a confidence booster, and he did it really well.
Brett, Never Ending favourite at 340. Sure Thing Captain 440. Don Hugo 550. Whisper a Secret $6. Major Delight $650. High Above, well back $17 into $850. They're the horses in single figures. How do you see it?
Oh, I just think it's so hard. What's interesting, you're reading at that market. It's kind of like when you watch the Brownlow Medal, like players tend to come in who play well in the finals when it doesn't even have any bearing. So all those horses that you're saying are all recent place getters or winners who've shown up lately. It's like, well, what about their overall records? There seems to be a lot of horses disrespected in that market to me. And I just reckon it's great that there's a race that has horses from all different states, and it makes it an absolute headache to sort out personally. And yeah, but I reckon it'll be a great race, obviously. And there's not many that can't win. And I reckon it'll be interesting to see how Bay Biscay goes, because last year was probably a stronger race because of Leap to Fame, Yep. And this year, maybe the 3-year-olds are in it more. And, Lost Storm didn't really, that was sort of the start of his sort of wane in the Eureka last year. So I'm going to probably barrack for Bay Biscay because I'd like to see a 3-year-old do well in the race.
Okay, $18. And that was Emma Stewart's pick, if anyone listened to her during the week on the socials on HRV. She lent the way of Bay Biscay in terms of her runners. She's also got High Above.
Massive run, the Queensland Derby, huge run. So obviously distance, no problem. Loves a battle. Yeah,
for sure. Great race. That is the Tab Eureka at 8:45 on Saturday night. And just the other one, fellas, just before that at 8 p.m, the Tab Len Smith Mile. Sat with Andy Gath last night at the Ballarat Trots and sort of spoke about this race a bit. You could run really well here, Herbie, and run last. It's a great race. I went with Major Delight just from the barrier, but it's a wide open event. Major Moth 290, Catch a Wave 480, Better Eclipse 480, Speak the Truth 550, and Artie's Express at 9. Can one of the Victorians win it, Herbie?
Yeah, it's some sort of race. Gate speed wise, it's very even too. I think like MacDan's very quick off the gate, and the 1, 2, 3 runners, they're all quite quick. It's really hard to get a grasp on it. I don't think they'd be buzzing Catch a Wave off too hard early. I don't think they have to from where he is. I don't think he'll lob too bad, which means he should be getting home fairly strong. Whether he's peaking right now or not, it's hard to say, but he probably needs to be a little bit better than his last couple of runs. Better Eclipse was very good first up, and Greg's of the opinion that he's improved again this time around. So he's got the form on the board to be right in it. Then you got a mare, Artie's Express, drawn 12, who's put in some great runs of late as well. So yeah, it's a hard one to really get your head around. I'm probably going to go with Better Eclipse. I'm just hoping that the early speed's electric and he can work home over the top.
You're with Jimmy's with Jimmy. I think that's what they call him, isn't
Jimmy's with Jimmy. Yeah, he's one of your favourite horses. So Jimmy's with Jimmy.
Jimmy's with Jimmy. Brett, who are you with?
Yeah, I find it very hard to work this race out as well. But oddly enough, I'm with Better Eclipse as well, because what it did last week at Melton in a really good quality race, not many horses can do that. Win first up over a mile, 1,200 metres out 3 wide, the last 1,200 in, really fast time. And it was windy. That's really hard to do. So I tip my hat off to the stable for getting it ready for that first up win. So, obviously I'd love any of the Victorian horses to win, always a bit parochial. But, he'd have to be my pick.
Good stuff. And before we let you go, we need to do the Sharps Bakery best bets. Herbie's one of their big fanboys with the vanilla slices. Herbie, have you got a best bet? Is it one of your drives on Saturday night, or where are you going to tip us into one here on the weekend?
When does this go to air, Tim?
Hopefully before Geelong tonight. So I've got to duck off and do something shortly, but are you looking at Geelong tonight? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, well, I haven't got much in the way of chances tonight, but I might have been able to find something that's a little bit easier than the Melton races, because they're very hard. We'll probably go with Maori's Mac first up tonight for Josh Aiken. Its form last time in was quite good, and he's a pretty nice horse. So you'll be able to drive him fairly cold, and if you can run home strong late, sorry, it's a filly, but if she can run home strong late, I'd say she'd be fairly close to him.
An each way price, Brett, wouldn't she?
I'd say so, because it's Violet Stanford. I haven't really had a good look, but she'd be $10, I think, because Penny's off the front, probably leads, so it's a good race.
Good stuff.
Definitely good value.
Your best bet, Brett?
Yeah, I'm going similar to James. I'll tip one for you at Melton, but it's very hard meeting to tip on, and I'm actually just going to tip one I'm surprised that it's backable, which is Paradise. Is it called Paradise Valley? Is that what it's called? Paradise.
In the last race for
Paradise Valley. Yeah. I think it'll. Its main opponents are all drawn poorly, so they're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna get an easy lead and be too slick for mine.
That's a good bet. 12, number 5. I think
and my tip at Geelong. And if this one gets beat, I'll tell you what, Tim, I'm going to waive my fee for the show. All right.
Right.
Remus Phoenix, race 8, number 5, Remus Phoenix.
These Carroll boys love this horse.
What do they say? Bet, responsibly.
Until your nose bleeds. No, sorry, that's not it, is it? So Remus Phoenix, what price? I know you guys had a different.
I think it's about 240 or something. It's against Valentino from New South Wales, and I love taking on New South Wales trotters. I don't like begging at Menangle unless it's trot races. We like Keating, Zahara, etc. Our trotters are generally better than theirs. Yeah.
Can I ask you about one just before we let you go? I reckon Loxley Cavalier can win that race, and it's been heavily backed.
Has it? Yeah, I really love the horse.
260.
Yeah, I reckon it's a ripper of a horse, but it's probably going to need another run. Only had a soft trial, but yeah, I do love the horse. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Good luck. Good stuff. Great stuff. Great show, guys. Thanks, Herbie. Really appreciate all your insights, and good luck here, there, and everywhere over the next few days.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it, mate.
And really appreciate you jumping on, Brett. Love your insights, and good luck. Well, good luck with the footy mainly.
Thank you very much.
That's been Burning Questions, September 6th. Looking forward to a huge night of racing. Vicbred Super Series semi-finals night at Melton. Jump onto the trots.com.au for all the coverage. We'll see you next week on Burning Questions.